We'll be live.
Now,
Hello.
now with extra Adharma.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait. What was that? Now with
So,
extra Adharma.
so there's
Opposite of Dharma.
Yeah.
Yes, like
See, I
now
said I
with
was gonna
extra.
do something with Hinduism. I said I was gonna,
Nice. That's
yeah.
actually good. That's it. That's like the Shirka version of
Yeah,
Islam.
yeah. I thought
Yeah.
that was I was looking it up. I was like, oh, I found that. And I'll be honest, I patted myself on the back a little bit for that one. So
That is pretty good. I like that. Adharma. It's yeah. I don't know. I don't think if any Hindus would be offended by that, but that's good. That's good. I like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. I
I
think
don't
it's
know if
pretty
any do Hindus are Hindus aware of Adharma? Like
so like it seems to be something that's like been a concept around for a while, just like anything that kind of goes against the Dharma, anything that like, is unrighteous or, like that was kind
yes.
of the path I was taking. So
Little bit of shirk, little bit of Adharma. What's the what's the Christian
sin,
version of
sprinkle some
sin? Yeah.
sin on top. Mm,
Yeah.
that's
That
a
sounds good.
delicious that is a
Yeah.
delicious blasphemy salad. So
Yeah. So, guys, we're going to be answering questions here today. We have a lot of Patreon questions. So we'll try to go through it really fast. So, if you guys want us to answer your questions, either become a patron on Patreon, link in the description, or if you can't wait for next week for us to answer your questions and you're not a patron, you can use the super chat. If there's a super chat, we'll stop everything, answer the super chats, and then we'll go back to the Patreon questions. At the end of the show, we will post a link to our YouTube members. If any YouTube members want to come up and talk to us live on air, we'll do that. But yeah, so let's just go through the Patreon questions really fast.
we have some good ones.
Yeah, we have some good ones. Let's start with a spicy one just to get things started.
Ooh.
Because there's a lot here. Oh wow, we already got. Never mind. We already got a super chat. So, thank you so much, Mustafa, for the super chat. $2 super chat saying, "Oh, this is for you. You should read it."
He's saying, Rarity, you look like the love guru. Had to say it. I'll say honestly, Mustafa, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay.
In fact, if anybody out there would like to have their comment read about my looks or Armin's, all you got to do is send a super chat, actually. So, $5, $10, you can tell us how great we look. Like we'll do that. Like, right? I mean, is that like too like narcissistic to begin the stream? Is that like too
a little bit? It's okay though. I like it. Okay, let's do this one. What is this? I'm curious. Would Atheist Republic ever consider running an online version of the annual Everybody Draw Muhammad Day event on May 20th? In-person events continue to be targeted by violent attacks, and the original online event founder was forced into witness protection due to a fatwa bounty. So would an online version with very careful anonymity for participants be feasible in your opinions? Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. We did do that. We had a contest one time. We made it into the news and everything for that contest. Like that was a couple of years ago. But again, like the management of that. Also, I don't know if we want to do that. What if somebody like gets hurt and because at that point we weren't like a non-profit or something, but like what if like we do this event and somebody gets attacked and now Atheist Republic is legally liable for like you guys set up this event? Like that sounds like a headache. I think I mean I'm not saying we shouldn't do I think individuals, we could talk about getting involved in the events, us doing our own Muhammad with our blasphemous art, telling people about the news, but to tell people to go and make the art and submit it to us or whatever or something like that. Then if something happens to somebody because of it, then people are going to come after us. They're like, you did this, you're responsible. And we could put the whole organization at jeopardy. So somebody saying, no man is saying, Armin, we won't blame you. Okay, yeah, but
I mean, we
but that's-
appreciate
yeah. I don't know if that's going to stand in court or that's going to like make our company survive.
I think it would definitely be one of those things where it's like Okay, not a bad idea, off the rip. Definitely would need to make sure with a legal team that this wouldn't put you in that liability. If it doesn't, then from there it's just asking whether or not, if somebody did end up getting hurt directly related to that, even though you wouldn't necessarily be legally liable, would you feel, morally responsible and stuff? But even still, like, you guys obviously draw Muhammad quite a lot in quite a many different positions, consensually. But I don't know. It's a tough line with that one. But it might be better than the in-person events. But I don't know.
Yeah.
What if you just promoted a day that didn't say like send it to us or this is something that we're like doing, but just, hey, this day is,
Well, there is already the day,
this.
the May 20th.
Okay, so you could theoretically highlight
We
the
did.
day.
Huh?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, but having our own event, because we did have our own
Right.
event, like so that was
Right.
like,
That would be an extra layer for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next question by Asian Americans. Should the U.S. House of Representatives adopt a plurality voting like the Canadian House of Commons, or should the Prime Minister of Canada be elected by an outright majority? No, I liked the whole idea of the Prime Minister being just the head of the party that is elected. I liked it a lot more. I think like it's less likely to get into a kind of Donald Trump situation. I think like the head of the country, the head of the head of government is like held more responsible. Like, and it's the removal process is easier. I mean, I know sometimes it could get chaotic, like it got there in the UK, right? But I just think like if somebody is an absolute loon and irresponsible, you don't need to just like go through an impeachment process to get rid of the person through our model rather than your model. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, the Prime Minister of Canada couldn't be elected by an outright majority unless you change like the structure, right? And while the parliamentary style is similar, to what goes on in the US with the Senate and the House of Representatives, they're very, very different. And the US House of Representatives wouldn't really work as like a plurality thing. It just wouldn't. It would never really work out that way. It's designed to be a major two-party system. I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying that's like, how it is. Yeah. If the House of Reps was going to adopt a plurality, it would require lots of changes to the Constitution and stuff. So that would be a bummer. But I agree. I think overall it probably works out in a little bit better of a more moderate individual that doesn't make dramatic swings, which is what happens in the US because of our model. So, but just because I am from the United States and Canada is our kind of like our little brother here, I just have to make a dig and just be like the US is better than Canada anyway. So, but sorry, I just had to.
Is it really like it's like that's something is obvious, like you don't really believe it, but you just have to say it. I think like it feels like you just have to say it.
There's that little like collectivist in all of us, right? And every so often it's nice to be a part of that. Like your team wins and I just it just feels good.
It feels good, but deep down inside it's not true.
It's a little
Okay. Higgs boson is saying, how much does Protestantism / Christianity contribute to the development of Western civilization? Many right-wingers point out things like Protestant work ethic and Judeo-Christian values as to why the Western civilization is supreme. I mean, if it has anything to do with Christianity, okay, I'm not trying to do a correlation causation fallacy here, okay? But it's so odd. It's so odd that we had Christianity for so long in these Western countries, and they just happen to start becoming, more supreme, as you mentioned it, right about the time where Christianity is becoming less and less influential, and Enlightenment values are becoming more and more influential. It's just like, I don't know if that's a coincidence, because they had a huge run with Christianity, and it didn't seem to have that influence that people keep saying that. What do you think?
Yeah, I brought props for this one because this is a great book, and it does help explain a lot of this. So, The Founding Myth by Andrew Seidel. So he does a lot of great stuff with that, specifically related to the founding of the United States and how that's just a total BS, concept and understanding. Just a very modern understanding of the past to try and fit a narrative, with an agenda. So, yeah, I mean, you can argue that Christianity helped allow for a more stable environment in Western Europe that ultimately helped foster a better exchange of ideals. But I think you're reaching a lot of times when you say that, because I think you have to remember some of the major advancements that occurred around then. Obviously, one of the biggest was the dissemination of information through text. We finally had a method in which we could really just get out just a bunch of books to people, and a bunch more people could start learning stuff. And that helped really foster that environment that would come, years and years later, as well as purposefully trading not just goods, but culture with civilizations that Western Europe had actively been avoiding for a really long time. Now, yeah, that led to some bad stuff, but I don't know. I don't feel like there's anything unique to Christianity that is good that helped with any progress in civilization, right? That's why I don't think we need religion. Like, there's nothing specific to Christianity that no other system gets right. That's a good thing. Lots of bad things, but nothing that nobody else came up with. Everybody says be good to people. Like, we just have a bad time of doing it, apparently.
Yeah, that's a good point, because a lot of people think that we're saying that religion has no good.
Exactly.
There's nothing good about religion. No, we don't say that. We just say there's nothing uniquely good about religion.
Mm-hmm.
Not that there's nothing good about religion. Like, given that how all the negative baggage that religion comes with,
Right.
and given that the good things religions have, you could get that from better alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
Then we don't need religion. And here's another thing. Societies are so complicated and everything is so interconnected that technically, whatever happens, you could tie that to everything, to everything. You could show that, okay, without this, none of this would happen, right? I mean, you could tie that to the worst things that have happened. You could show, I don't know, the rise of, Nazi power. You could show that, like, if that didn't happen, you could connect that to you could come up with some weird conclusions, because you could show, like, well, if this didn't happen, this wouldn't happen, and this good thing wouldn't happen. Then now, like, well, now are we in favor of this? Like, no, that's not how things work, right? Like a better example that might not get us canceled, instead of that, I should have gone with that. Like the plague, for example. Like, you can show, like, oh my God, the plague actually was so good because these good things happen after the plague, right? So, but you're like, oh yay, plague! You can't do that, right? So what you can't. So you have to do more than just show that this is connected to this, because everything is connected to everything. What you have to show that, like, if this good thing happened and it seems like it's connected to this other thing, that doesn't mean you could praise this other thing. What you have to show is, like, what you have to show, and it's hard to show, is that if you run the society in a parallel universe without that element, like, let's say A thing happens and you could connect A to B, and B is good, okay, and you're like, well, B is good, A is connected to B, so is A is good? No, because maybe in a parallel universe, if there was no A, right, there would be C that would result in B, and C would have resulted in more B. Right? C would have, so just showing a connection between A and B is not good enough to praise A.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it made perfect sense, and it's exactly what I was saying. Yeah, it just it doesn't. We don't. We haven't figured out time travel yet, y'all. We haven't found parallel universes exactly. So when that day comes, and in every other parallel universe, the only ones that are successful with Western civilizations are the ones that had Protestantism, well, then we can say that. But
No man is saying, I'm
Yeah,
editing
play.
Armin saying, yay, play. Okay. Well, that's
We are not, just for anybody out there, we are not pro play here. I bold stance, I know, but we are not for the Black Death. So.
Weirdly enough, that does not get you canceled as much as the first example that I came up with. So
That's true.
we should.
Are there a lot of people coming out that are like pro play?
This is the first people.
Is that something I've missed? There's been like a wave on Reddit or something.
Oh my god. All right. Prometheus is asking, what are your thoughts on patriarchy? Do you think it was an inherently evil idea and it should never have existed, or that it was a need of the time and is justified in a pre-modern society? Should men as a whole be blamed for it or not? This is actually a very good question. I like it.
Yeah.
I think, oh my god, I'm gonna get canceled for this. I think the patriarchy was a necessity given our biology and given how civilization works, right? I think there's no other way. There would have been no other way to go about it. I mean, we should evolve out of it, but I just don't think go on.
Are you, because this was the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this, is, are we there? I think there are a couple of main definitions of patriarchy, and there's one where it's just basically saying that men are in more dominant roles. But I think in general, the way that a lot of people use the term is one where there is a specific element where not just men being in dominant roles prominently, but there's a specific, like, men are better than women, like a superior thing. So if you're not coming at it from that perspective,
No.
then I would say, like, yeah, I think I agree with kind of how history played out, just in the sense of, there was a time where in a bunch of different societies it made more sense for men to be in more prominent leadership positions and stuff. But yeah, I think that was the first thing that came to my mind, was like, it depends, I guess, on what definition we're using, especially for, like, is it an inherently evil idea? Like,
yeah, I think the patriarchy is not that the idea that men are superior, especially because the patriarchy also treats a lot of men like garbage as well.
Well, yeah,
right?
but it's just saying men are superior to women. It can still treat men badly, right, in the process, just as long as it treats the women worse.
No, because if you actually look at how people, especially a lot of feminists, define patriarchy, they don't. Wow, we're getting a lot of super chats. I'll get to the super chats very soon. Thank you, guys. It's not that the idea of men are superior, right? Because they even mention that, this is a patriarchal model, and when they're talking about a patriarchal model and the examples are being given, it's not anybody claiming the superiority of men. They're like, oh, look, this is like, sometimes they say, like, men are are put in these certain positions against their own will, even, like against their own desires, right? So, and if you look at the examples people keep giving, you don't see any claim of superiority. You keep looking at societal structures that put men in certain positions and certain roles, and women in certain roles, and that's mostly what they're talking about. So not like male superiority.
Yeah, I think. So I think a lot of times today we're not discussing like a specific aspect where that is the main key to it, but it is an undertone, I think, throughout it. We do have historical and even modern day understandings, like with indigenous cultures and stuff throughout the world. One of them, I believe I'm pronouncing this right, the Munduruku, have a very interesting kind of, gender understanding and societal structure where the men RAPE the women whenever they do anything bad, and the women actually make sure to enforce this with other women. It's very, very interesting. There's this whole Women of the Forest, I think it was called, or Women of the Trees. I don't remember exactly the book, but anyway, not the point. It's just to say that like, so like I just went and just looked up patriarchy, and like there are a couple of different definitions, and one is just purely in the sense I think that you were talking about, is more an anthropological as opposed to a sociological, more one in the sense of like being traced through a father lineage, or one where the male is the head of the household, right? As opposed to an aspect where there is that societal lens of like, we're not letting women do things because of X reasons, right? Does that distinction make sense? I don't know if.
Yeah. Well, now going with the definition that I mentioned, right?
Yes.
I think that and D is mentioning having roles doesn't necessarily mean anyone is oppressed. Yeah, but in a patriarchy,
True.
the roles that are assigned to men are more managerial. Like men get more managerial or positions of power than women do. Again, and this is not. So going back to the question, do you think it's inherently evil? It's not inherently evil because it's not. It's not necessarily, and most of the time, it's not something conscious. It's just happens organically, and it's like it's part of.
Does that make it worse? Does that make it worse if it is on the societal aspect of it, where there is that like superiority thing and all that jazz? Does it make it worse that it's like so ingrained that people are acting on it unconsciously, or does that make it less
makes
bad?
it more difficult? Well, makes it less evil, but also more difficult to get rid of.
Because you're not, because because it's the conscious, it's the specific act of trying to do the harmful thing that adds an extra layer of harm. You're saying, like, if you're, yeah, okay, go ahead.
It's not intentional,
right?
Okay, because it's not intentional, I wouldn't kind of call it evil, right? I mean, think about it. It's really hard not to do it any other way, right? You have one sex, right, that has more muscle power, right? And you, first of all, without civilization, this is not that big of an issue, right? But now you're producing more calories, right? So you have more calories, so more people can spend time not farming. So there are more people. So you build city states, right? And now you have a lot more manpower that is not being attributed to the farm. You need guards, right? You need guards. Who is going to be in charge? Which sex do you think is going to have the upper hand when it comes to managing and guarding? That's going to be the one with more muscle power, right? So you're going to naturally see more males becoming more in leadership and managerial positions, given that they have an advantage when it comes, like when it's all farming, both sexes are, their roles in society are extremely like kind of equal, right? But all of a sudden, when it comes to everything, like you need muscle power for hunting and everything, but also farming, and there's a lot of roles of women being the ones who give birth and everything, and having more choosing, being more selective over picking mates and stuff. If we're all doing farming, it's the men don't have that much of an advantage when it comes to the role in society. But as soon as we get into civilizational mode, all of a sudden the men's role increases. Also because the value, like the biological value of women, they become very hot. Like, again, I'm not saying this, it's just how it ends up, almost like a very hot commodity that you need to guard along with all the other commodities. So you have one sex that has more muscle power, and muscle power become a key advantage, and another sex has something that the other sex really wants, and without much muscle power to control whether or not she gives it or not, right? Because in societies where you don't have very powerful police and very powerful military, the more muscle power you have, the more you are in control of your own autonomy. So imagine one sex having something that is very much valued, and the other sex having the muscle power. What do you think is going to happen? Like, obviously that's good. So it's like you can't escape that. There's no way to escape that. And again, the whole patriarchy is not something that is necessarily beneficial to most men. Most men, given how the societies will eventually function, the patriarchy will be in favor of a few men, because the roles, you might think like, well, even at a lower level in society, I would like to be in charge in a family. I would like to be in control. Like, you would think like even in a family, well, the fatherhead is the main figurehead, like the guy is in control. Yeah, but also because of patriarchy and men's roles in society, the men are also being put in front lines, of the most dangerous and taxing work on one's body, right? Like, you are doing the hardest amount of labor and doing the most dangerous jobs, and putting yourself in harm ways in battle, and picking up mine work and the most dirtiest jobs. So the patriarchy might be beneficial to a few men on the top, but overall it's not necessarily beneficial to most men. In fact, it might be the opposite. Yeah, what do you think?
No, there's a lot for sure. Again, I think it is important to make that distinction between like an anthropological and a sociological understanding of the word, because I think the anthropological one is really not harmful and a lot more in line with kind of the explanation I think you just gave about how kind of human societies developed. The sociological one is where I think the harm comes in, and absolutely it doesn't just harm women, but it does make a concerted effort hitting that group more than it does men. But one question that came to my mind, actually, Susanna had said this earlier in the chat. I don't know if you can find it, but she said where was it? It was something about, what about the various societies, yes, that are matriarchies. I mean, obviously that meme didn't catch on in the same way. Yeah, absolutely. But we do have a good bit of information about some very, very successful, clearly female dominated societies throughout the world. What do you think with that kind of explanation you just gave? Do you think that fits with that? Or do you think,
that's not that common.
No. It's not, but it would still need to be accounted for, and like the understanding that the reason that it played out in such a way was kind of due to this dominance in a physical sense, right? Because then we would have to explain why there are any societies at all that have this matriarchy structure, right?
Like, well, you wouldn't expect anything that has such an effect on society to be absolute. Okay. Right? Because the variables are so numerous, right? It's not that when you see the effect of something having an influence on society, all you expect is for that to generally be the result, not for that to completely have. It is close to absolute, right?
Yeah.
So you have to really go looking.
Yeah, it is.
So
it is.
You have to really go looking to find something like that.
But the ones that do buck that trend are quite badass, right? Like those people are pretty awesome, right? There's a lot of female leaders and stuff throughout history.
But
yeah,
is it? Yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say the last question I thought of that was like, should all men be to blame? And just like, no, of course not.
Obviously,
like, just like we shouldn't blame all women or all Muslims or all anything, right? We should always.
Yeah, one thing about blaming all men, even the most hardcore radical feminists. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. But many hardcore feminists don't even say that. Like, I've seen some people that are associated with like, oh, that's a radical feminist. And if you go ask them, do you think we should blame all men for this? They'll like laugh at you. Like, they were like, who says that? No, of course not. Right. So
funny enough, there's a super reasonable argument coming from a lot of feminists. Yeah, go figure, right? Super reasonable one that is not the exaggeration that other people try to put up.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you actually, the ones that get highlighted are not necessarily representative of them.
Of course.
But what is this? Mansplaining? What is this?
Men explain things to me. Like I think
men explains to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just
that's
like
what the show.
us both talking about the patriarchy probably doesn't look too good, but.
Wait, why not? We are talking about, we're men. We're talking about the patriarchy. Shouldn't be. I mean, how come? If we don't talk about the patriarchy,
no. I
know
agree.
she's joking, by the way.
It's definitely a men's issue as well, right?
It's a men's issue.
It can't just.
We can't talk about women's issues, but we can't talk about men's issues either. Like what? So like I don't know. Maybe it should be the other way around. We should be telling, like, okay, so women like, oh, don't talk to me about women's issues. Okay, so if women talk about men's issues, so we should be able to say the same thing. Like, oh, women explaining things to me about men's issues. Like, okay, women, like, thank you so much. I think like we got this. Okay, I think we men got men's issues. Thank you very much. Don't explain men's issues to us. Thank you. Okay. So.
I think that's probably the best way to go about it. No sarcasm whatsoever.
I'm joking. I know. By the way,
of course.
Yeah, I know. Lillipet. So Lillipet saying, "LOL." I was replying to someone in the chat. Okay.
That's okay.
I know. We're just having fun. We're just having fun. This is not serious. Okay?
Yeah.
We should make this a thing, like women explaining things to men and to me, like hashtag or something like that. Thank you. All right. I do too. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we weren't talking about that, but never a bad time to remind everybody.
Yeah. All right. So we got a $2 super chat from Secular Sakai saying $20 to AR GoFundMe. Thank you so much, Secular Sakai, for your support. That's for people who don't know, this is the GoFundMe that is our legal fund that we have for because Hindutva, many people from India were are legally coming after Atheist Republic, me and Susanna. So we have lawyers there that are helping to defend us, so that we have a GoFundMe for that. And thank you so much for Secular Sakai for donating to that. And also Anony Mouse gave us $20 super chat. So thank you so much for that. We appreciate that.
Do you get the name?
Yes,
because it's like anonymous, but it's
anonymous. Yes.
Okay.
It's clever. It's clever. Oh wait, Lily Pad is saying "Men Explain Things to Me" is a book by Rebecca Solnit, a prominent feminist activist. What is she? Is she appreciative of men explaining things to her or not? Like, is she saying?
I would guess in general it's probably saying like most of the experience I've had has been bad. Yeah,
I would like to think. I would guess.
I doubt she's saying all men explaining things is bad. But
okay. No, but I would like to, without reading it, I would like to imagine that she's actually thanking men in this book. I was like, these are the things that men have explained to me and have been so helpful. And I just wanted to write a book appreciating, explaining these things. Like, I didn't know. Like, genuinely, like, I'm not being satiric. I'm like, this is a thank you note to men and all the helpful advice they have had me in my life. Thank you. Is that not it? Is that not what the book is about?
I have not read it. I honestly am not sure. Okay. I do love that concept though. Okay. Like, number 1. Number 3.
Oh.
Like 728.
Don't ruin it. I'm just gonna imagine that that's what the book is about. But
oh my god. Yeah.
Don't ruin it for me.
Much better.
All right. Cajun American saying, assuming all other problems have been solved, would it be ethical to extend a criminal's life so that they may serve out their consecutive life sentences? Wow. Like, that sounds very hateful. Like,
I got to the end of it the very first time and just went, no, No, that sounds like torture. That sounds really bad. That sounds like a really
I mean,
dystopian sci-fi, like horrible. I mean, great question, but no, I don't think so. Like, I feel like this is a no,
we
right?
want you to suffer. We're
Am
gonna
I?
do
Yeah,
everything in our
yeah.
life to make you live longer so
It's
that you
like,
can
look,
suffer.
man, I don't know what to tell you. You got 32 life sentences. I don't know what to do. Like, we just got to keep bringing you back and letting you live till it's done. And it's like my sentence started literally 750 years ago. It's like, I know, man, I'm bummed by it too. Like, I got to come here every day and check on you. You know, this sucks, but just following the law.
No, I mean, I would like to give them life longer, not because we want them to, not because we're being vengeful and we want them to serve their sentences. I would like to just them live longer so that they could enjoy their lives longer.
Yeah, and become
Like I'm hoping
better
that,
person. Yeah.
yeah, I'm hoping by that time that we have solved all problems. Prisons are not a place where you are punishing people for the sake of you know, revenge, you know, a desire for, you know, we are like prisons are a place that we just keep people away from society, just for to protect society, not a place where we put people so that we feel satisfied that they're suffering, right? Because again, you know, if you're a criminal, you're a product of either your genetics or you know, and or your socioeconomic situation. So I'm hoping by that time society has matured enough to not be so vengeful to hope to see people suffer, right?
Yeah.
So the prisons are a place where people are enjoying their life no matter how bad they are, but we're just like, you can't be with the rest of society. That's where you're gonna be. I'm sorry, okay? And we're gonna put you in a place where we can monitor you, but still you can still continue enjoying life. And we are so, and if we are extending the lives of prisoners, is because we're extending the lives of everybody, and prisoners have rights, so it should include them as well. That's why we're extending their lives, not to make them serve their sentences, but that's why we're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be on board with that. I think just in general, if we found some way to just bring people back, you know, for another 100 years or whatever it was, right? And it was just like, we're only doing this so that you can serve another 100 years in a really, really bad time. Like, yeah, that seems
Yeah,
particularly bad.
Lily Pie saying it would be unethical to not give them the option to live longer. Though. Yeah, exactly. Like, if the reason why we're giving that option is because we're giving it to everybody, so it should include them as well, because they're
Okay, if you're
people and they have rights. Yeah.
If you're coming at it from like that, you're saying like this is just something that's just standard across the board. That's how far we've advanced. Well, then, yeah, 100% it would be unethical to not even give them the option. But if they extended their lives, I think we would either. Well, no, I guess not. I guess we wouldn't have to necessarily work into the system a way for them to like get out on parole or anything before their sentence, because if they just continually chose to extend their life, then I mean, that would be them like sort of volunteering to do it.
Mind you, I do think if we have solved other problems, I don't think we would have criminals by then anymore.
That's fair, but that's kind of a cop out for the question. I mean, that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
Right.
But
yeah, I think we are a post-crime world by then.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
we'll see.
We are, for anybody who's not aware, we are anti-crime here. We're not a fan of crime. Yeah, that's true.
So brave, so brave.
I know.
I'm impressed. Gagin American is asking, NASA is a government-funded organization. Why do Americans say capitalism won the space race when it was regulated private economy funding a government organization that took us to space? Was a regulated private economy funding a government organization that took us to space? Well, it was because the private sector that funded the government. So why do Americans say capitalism won the space race? Because the government, I think it's justified to say capitalism won the space race, because the high levels of taxes that the government had collected to fund NASA, and NASA was only possible through a capitalist model. So even if it's government funded, why do you think the U.S. government had more taxes to play with than other governments? Because it was a capitalist model where where companies became so rich that the tax that the government collected was high enough to do these crazy things.
Yeah.
So it is still a capitalist win.
It's an oversimplification, and us here in the U.S. are big fans of that. See, I just oversimplified there, but but yeah, I mean the space race, as it's called, right, was really between two major superpowers at the time that had two very different economic systems: capitalism, U.S., communism, Russia. So there you go. I mean USSR, but you get it. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it
I mean
is
that's
NASA.
happening again.
Yeah, it is. It is happening. It's just it's not communism though. That's like the thing is like
It's command. It's not communism, but it's command economy. So
yeah,
like if you
for
look,
sure.
So if you look at what's happening in Ukraine, you're seeing a competition between a more competitive economic model fighting against a top-down command economic model of Russia, and you can see which one is winning. Yeah. I mean, for example, even if in the United States, like it's the government that is paying for the weapons that they're sending. You're basically seeing a competition between Western-made weapons in Ukraine and Russian-made weapons, right? And the Western-made weapons are paid for by the government, but the way that they are made under, in the United States is that you have a competition between different private sector companies coming in and providing their services to the government, and that competition, and the government has to choose, and that competition between all these companies has made superior weapons compared to the Russian model, where everything is decided from top down. And you can see the results.
I'd agree with that.
All right. Higgs boson is asking, should any form of aid given to Pakistan be subject to conditions that they work on human rights and justice to minorities? It's really hard for you to put conditions on aid to Pakistan when they are getting a little bit, just a tiny bit too close to a failed state. Again, I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just saying that it's a country with nukes, with Islamists, and instability, and that's not good for the entirety of the world. And given that how dangerous that is for the world, you cannot be like, we're not going to give you aid if you do this and that, because I mean, Pakistan knows that you can't handle a Pakistan that collapses. The world cannot handle a collapsing Pakistan, so they know that you have to give them aid. So it's kind of a bluff if you want to put conditions on your aid when it comes to Pakistan. What do you think?
I think that's a better geopolitical analysis than I'm going to give. What I'm going to say is, I think if you're saying all forms of aid, right? Because it's asking should any form of aid, then that would have included, the vaccine, right?
Ooh, yeah.
And so I don't think we have the ability to understand the true ramifications of putting strings to every single form of potential aid that could be given, not just to Pakistan, but any country, right? I think it's a good thing to push for the human rights stuff, and maybe don't give some things without that specific tie to that. But yeah, there has to be some forms of aid that we give that's kind of just unconditional, and we just don't really speak about it, even though we should, call them out when they do bad stuff, but like, we're still gonna it's like you walk into my house and you just like knock over all of my stuff on the walls and just destroy stuff. And then you're like, well, all right, you owe me $100. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I do, It's like, I don't, it's going to be worse if I'm not giving you that. So,
yeah. I mean, I guess, I guess if China is going to be very involved in Pakistan, right, in the foreseeable future. So as bad as the influence of Chinese aids and economic investments are compared to US, at least US might kind of see that, somebody is picking up, some of the, so the United
Yeah.
States could be like, okay,
Yeah.
once,
Maybe
I mean,
relaxed a
right now,
little.
yeah,
Do
but
you
right
think?
now Pakistan is getting more crazy, so I don't think you could
Yeah.
relax that. Like, it's getting like it
That's
could be a
that's
civil war.
that's
Yeah.
part of it for sure that concerns me. I wonder if the if China really does start taking over a larger amount of foreign aid for Pakistan and the US really wanes. I wonder if that could ultimately be a real bad thing for the Chinese economy.
Yeah.
Like it just they end up having to spend way more money than they had hoped for, and it just causes like ripple
Yeah.
effects.
I mean, technically, they're not doing aid; they're doing investments. But like, it will still have
Yeah,
that
yeah.
stability model. Hopefully, I
Yeah.
mean, hopefully. Again, this is we're not like completely against the Chinese government. We are very much against many things they do, but we're rooting for them whenever they make economic decisions because like it's good for the world. Like it's good, where it's good for them to it's good for everybody, including America, for China to do better when it
Yeah.
comes to their economy, and also hopefully, like if they have better relationships with more countries, so we're not entirely depending on the Western countries' investments and money. But yeah, unfortunately, they have very poor human rights records and zero conditions when it comes to giving out money when it comes to human rights and stuff like that. We did get a super chat from Secular Sakai, another super chat, $10 super chat. Thank you so much for that.
Did you see? Hang on a second.
We got
Newman
something.
is a member for 6 months. Just
Oh
redeemed the
yes.
membership. I know it doesn't come up on the.
Oh yeah, it doesn't come on.
Yeah.
Newman is celebrating his 6 months membership by saying "Love you all" and a trans and a gay flag. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, thank you for noticing that. I need to unstar the question that we. Oh, there we go. Good, I got that. Let's do. Okay, patriarchy question. I need to unstart that. I need to unstart this. We're gonna go through this really quickly. That's really
Yeah,
good.
we've done good.
Yeah. Engaging American is saying, should PRC legalize polyandrous one woman, multiple men marriages to make up for the excesses of 32 million men? I think everybody should do that. I think every
That's
country
kind of what
should
I
do
was
that.
thinking. I was thinking, why
Yeah.
not? I mean, why not just legalize? I mean, I would say legalize polyamorous marriages as opposed to specifically polyandry or polygamy. But I guess if you legalize either of those institutions, you could regulate them to make sure that people aren't being coerced. But I don't know. I just know that historically speaking, polygamy obviously has a lot of negative consequences, whereas polyamory and the few places that polyandry has been done, like societally, seem to be a lot less problems. So. But yeah, my first thoughts were like, yeah, you should be just allowed to marry as many people as you want. I don't see why that's a huge issue. But
yeah, I don't think China is gonna be
oh,
PRC
I
is
don't
gonna
think they're
do
gonna do that. No, I don't think they're gonna. No, I don't think so. But yeah, there
I
are
think
lots and lots of. There's a
yeah.
huge disparity, and that's not great.
Yeah. Prometheus is right. It's because China is a conservative society, so that's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
I do think, given how the shortage of women in China is going to make the surrounding countries are going to see. I think there's going to be a culture war, maybe. Okay, in the near future, where neighboring countries are going to be complaining about Chinese men coming out and taking their women. You know how you have yes, you know how we have far right people in Europe and North America saying they're taking our women, these like immigrants, like yeah, they're coming, like they have like this hate, they have white women and I don't know, Middle Eastern or black men, and they're like makes them rage, you know what I mean? Like there's a xenophobia. This is like peak xenophobia when you see like our woman, they're taking our woman, right? Like stuff like that, right? So I think like you might see a version of that happening in the near future, but like men in Vietnam and Philippines and Indonesia are like, these Chinese men are taking our women, like, go, like, oh, these, look at her, these beautiful girls, pick up like an Indonesian man, like a strong Indonesian man, not like a Chinese man, like, those Chinese men, they're horrible, like, telling, I don't know, I'm not saying that, by the way, YouTube, I'm not saying that, okay, I'm just making fun of racist people, I'm not being racist myself, okay, here, okay, please,
is this Confucian love jihad? Is that what that would be?
Yeah. Yeah. Confusion, love it.
Oh, man.
If that
happens, yeah,
you heard it here first, okay? If that happens, okay, so
you've gotten a couple of predictions right, I mean,
yeah.
but we'll see.
Okay. All right. Okay, Higgs boson is asking why Christianity flourished in Korea but not in Japan. Japanese have a history of brutality against Christian missionaries, while Koreans adopted. Well, I mean, it kind of did. Christianity did kind of flourish. We've seen, like, recently the cult. I mean, it came from Korea to Japan, right? But it kind of did also flourish a little bit in Japan. But yeah, more in Korea. But I guess you answered your own question. Japanese, have been far less welcoming of Christian missionaries than Koreans have been. So it made a faster inroads into Korea than it did in Japan. Do you know why Japanese were so hostile to Christianity? Did they have a?
So I did a little looking, and like, believe me, I'm not a scholar or anything on it, y'all. I just looked at a few places online, but there definitely was a difference in the way that Japanese society and Korean society in the 1600s treated these missionaries and stuff. And there is one really big difference, though, which is that let me find the bullet point. In 1603, a Korean diplomat returned from Beijing carrying several theological books written by Matteo Ricci, who was an Italian Jesuit missionary in China at the time. And so maybe because of the fact that one of the first individuals that was, like, really publicly kind of expressing this stuff was somebody that was so high up, if this person was a Korean diplomat, like, they were well known by a lot of people. Obviously they would have, been speaking with the emperor. It mattered kind of what they said. And if they came back from China and were saying, like, hey, this is a big deal, that could have instilled a little bit more popularity. Even though eventually they will outlaw it as well, just like Japan did. But it definitely does. There is definitely a larger percentage of the population. In Japan, it's very, very low, was what was coming up. But yeah, it just seems like in the history of Japan, they just were not as interested in adopting it. I don't know what specifically was the big difference, though.
Susanna might have an answer, but before I go to Susanna's answer, Gagin American saying, thank you so much for the super chat. Gagin America doing a $5 super chat saying, missionaries tied the, I don't know what this is.
Tuberculosis.
Where's the B though? Tuberculosis vaccines to conversion. Okay, interesting. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. And Susanna is saying something that might explain this. I don't know how much. She's saying low-key the CIA funded Christian stuff in Korea to combat communism. I actually heard that. Yeah, okay. I think, like, maybe there is even beyond the CIA. I did hear somewhere in a documentary, I don't remember this, that Christianity was using Korea in general as a way to combat communism. So maybe the rise of Christianity in Korea is thanks to communism, right? So maybe communism was not making that much of a progress in Japan, and it was in Korea, and just Christianity was just a way to tackle that. So thanks, communism. Again, you ruined another, things
that is interesting.
Yeah. Oh, here's another interesting thing that D is adding. D is saying also troops brought Christianity to Korea as a defensive force in Korean
Good point.
War. We were enemies to Japan.
Good point.
Okay, but I guess by the time that the U.S. troops were in Japan, I mean,
40s.
U.S. troops were in Japan as well. So how come they didn't bring Christianity over there?
No. Well, we were. I mean, like, we were fighting. Well, but see, we would have. But so this is the thing: is obviously it's Christianity is much more is basically non-existent in North Korea, right? It's South Korea where there's a huge Christian presence, which is the side that we were fighting, for. But hi.
Okay, I'm just gonna highlight
very
this content. I'm just gonna highlight this comment out of context, and I don't know how I don't know what conversation is happening in the live chat that it got there, but I'm just gonna highlight that without any explanation.
I think they're trying to say against, by the way, at the end there, right?
Yes. This is
okay.
This is wrong, Susanna. Wrong, because the Bible explicitly speaks against anime. Okay.
I remember that passage. I remember there. It was somewhere Moses was talking about how to slaughter a sheep or something, and then he was like, and also make sure you don't watch Pokemon because that stuff like rots your brain. I'm pretty sure it's in there.
Yeah.
Leviticus. Maybe.
Yeah. I think so. All right. All right, let's go to Higgs boson. Wait, did I highlight the super chat? I did.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Do members of the British royal family have freedom of religion? What if Prince William becomes a Catholic, Jew, or a Muslim? I would love to see a news item saying Prince William just converted to Islam. I wouldn't even be mad. I would be like, okay, this is too juicy.
I thought about this for a second, and because my initial thought was, yeah, I think you do technically in some senses as the British royal family, but the issue is because I went and double checked this, it is actually the law, okay, in the UK that the Church of England is England's state church and the monarch is its head. And again, by law, that monarch has to be part of the Church of England. So I guess theoretically, if you weren't in line, you could change and it wouldn't matter at all. If you were in line to become the next monarch and you did change, you either couldn't be the monarch if you were a different faith, or you would just have to reconvert to the Church of England, I guess. But yeah, I this wasn't something I was.
But technically, there's nothing stopping you, is there?
So again, it's so hang on. So this is something I found. So in the absence of a written constitution, the law establishes the Church of England as England's state church. There's literally a written law in the UK that says this is the case, and that law also establishes the monarch as its head.
But does it say that for it to be the head, you have to have
as the supreme governor of the Church of England, the monarch must always be a member of and promise to uphold that church.
Okay, but but does the church membership require me to have that religion?
Well, yeah. Yeah. You would have to. Yeah, you would have to.
Why can I not be a Muslim member of that church?
Well, you can go do it in your heart all you want, Armin. I'm just talking about like the like.
No, why can't I just be like? No, why can't I just openly say like I am a Muslim, for example, and a member of this church?
Apparently, they passed a law. Apparently, well, okay, I see what you're saying.
No, the law doesn't say the law specific. The law specifically says you have to be a member of the church. Okay, I'm like, okay, I am a Muslim member of this church. The law doesn't say for me to have my membership, I have to believe in the religion.
Now that's interesting. Yeah, that aspect of it. And I don't know that there's anything specific in the Church of England, like theological doctrine that says like you have to Like you have to believe, like in Islam, it's like, hey, here are some things you definitely cannot do, or you're not a Muslim, right?
No, but I'm separating the religion from the church membership. It's a membership in an institution. It's not like it's not taking about your personal belief. Like you can say like my personal belief is that Allah is God and Muhammad is his prophet. Why would you take my membership away?
I'm following.
There's nothing. I'm looking at the book.
You can't be a member of a Catholic church and say like, oh, I'm actually a Mormon. Like you won't ever get through the membership process. So I don't know if the Church of England has those types of requirements.
Think about it the other way around, right? Let's say you're a Catholic, right? Right. Right now you're a member of like the Catholic, you have your name there, everything. Okay. If you come out today, right, and you say like, I'm a Muslim, the Catholic Church is not going to hunt you down and take you where you're. In fact, it's hard for you to actually get your.
I mean, that's the other way around.
Well, that's the other way around. If you are not a Catholic, you have to go hunt them down to remove your name from their system. It's not the other way around. They keep you in. Right?
I understand what you're saying, but it sounds like almost what you're arguing here is like a technicality. It's like I mean, I've been a practicing Hindu for the last like 30 years, but
I know so many Catholics that are trying to remove their membership from the Catholic Church because they no longer believe in it, and it's hard. You can't do that. But so technically, that's a loophole that you could take advantage of.
The question is, if you were a practicing Catholic, a member of the church, right? And you convert to another faith, are you going to get off the records easier, right? If you like convert to a Mormon and you're like, hey, sorry, Pope, I don't feel it anymore. I'm following, Joseph Smith now. Will they just be like, oh, cool, well, you're not a Catholic anymore, right? Like, or are they just gonna be like, yeah, it's fine, we'll still keep you on the roll, like it looks good for the numbers. Like, I mean, technically you're a blasphemer and heretic, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know that it would work on a technicality like that. I'd love to see it. It'd be great to watch. So
I like that. Wait, so we had, so you can't even, Higgsboson is saying you can't even be Catholic. Yeah, even if you're Christian, apparently you can't. Okay. Lily Pat is saying royal family would lose claim to the throne if not Church of England or marry someone who isn't. Really? They have to even marry somebody who belongs?
See, I think, yeah, I again, but I mean, if you're not in line, or you have done like what Harry has done, where he's like, I don't really want to be a part of it. Like, then I don't think there are any other restrictions or anything, but yeah, it's weird.
Gasian American with another $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Gasian American. That's very generous. Thank you so much. Saying William would be disinherited. George, Charlotte, and I don't know who these names. What is this? Louise are now next in line to the throne. I don't know my royal family members and stuff like that. I know you can't convert back. Once a Catholic, always a Catholic. That's excommunicatable offense.
That's a really difficult word.
Yeah.
Excommunicatable.
Excommunicatable. Wow.
That's a really it's a bizarre word. But
would they actually go like that? Sounds very backwards. Like would they like imagine in UK, which is supposed to be a secular country and everything, like, oh, we're disinheriting you because of your change of religion. I think this would challenge if they did. I personally think that if they change their religion, it would be so controversial to do all of this because of someone's changing of religion.
Because of that.
That they would actually go into looking, and instead of doing that, they would go into changing the laws.
That's what I was about to say, is like, if this ever did actually play out in the next like 10 to 20 years, I really do think like the majority of citizens in the UK would just be like, do we really have to give that much of a crap about the monarchy anymore? She died, Lizzie died, so we can, like, who really cares about the rest of them anymore, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. The support for monarchy is on the decline in the UK,
Oh, for sure.
which is good.
For sure.
Yeah, like, by the way, as a Canadian, I hate the fact that this is also being imposed on us. So,
Yeah.
did you know I had to lie to get my citizenship? I had to swear allegiance to the Queen and all that crap. This is like not a good way to start your citizenship.
Don't worry though, because it's a known fact about physics that if you cross your fingers while swearing an oath of allegiance, it doesn't work. Yeah, it's something about the electrons and the something, but I don't remember.
But I didn't do that. I didn't do.
God, come on, Armin. Well, now it's too late. I mean,
I was
now
afraid
you're
that I was afraid that I might see and I would lose my citizenship.
That's probably that was probably the correct call. I would agree with that.
All right. Higgs boson is asking, do members of the
that was what we just yeah.
Okay, I was like deja vu. Higgs boson. Okay, how much has the UK progressed in religious tolerance? Tony Blair was a closet Catholic and opened up on his faith only after PM tenure. Now the current PM is an open practicing Hindu. Yeah, I mean, I guess again you answered your own question. It seems like tolerance is increasing, but just not for us atheists, apparently. For everyone else except us. I mean, no, for us it's also increasing as well, but slower.
Yeah, it is. We're still very much apparently hated, which is so weird. But I just looked up some stuff. This is actually a report from the U.S. State Department. So this is a 2021 report on international religious freedom, and so this is on the UK. And there's actually a lot of really, really good things throughout here. The government reported an 18% decrease in religiously motivated hate crimes between March 2020 and March 2021. So down from 6,856 to 5,948. That being said, there was actually an increase in specifically anti-Semitic hate crimes, and that was a pretty big increase. So what was that? Is 34% increase. So annual report recorded 2,255 incidents. So that was, not in the right direction, but overall they're still saying hate crimes were down by 18% in the last, span of a year. And then there's a bunch of other stuff too that talks about a lot of other really, really, good things that had happened. So there is a lot of really positive indication, but unfortunately, there is a wave of anti-Semitism that is spreading across North America and Western Europe right now. So
yeah, but that's not necessarily because anti-Semitic views are increasing. I've heard.
True.
I heard it's mostly because people are becoming more bold about their anti-Semitic views. Yeah,
because they've found that there are spaces where they can be incredibly successful.
And they're realizing that they're not that's as small in number as they thought.
Unfortunately.
We got a super chat, another $10 super chat from Secular Sakai. Thank you so much, Secular Sakai, for the support. He's saying, if Scotland gains independence, would any particular church still have political influence?
So possibly, again, I'm not 100% positive, but again, I was just looking up some of this stuff, and it all like correlated together at the same time. So it was cool. But again, currently in the UK law, Scotland does have a national church, and that is the Church of Scotland. And so if Scotland gains its independence, would they still keep all of the same laws that were coming from the UK government? I doubt it. I don't know if that's a specific to the devolved Parliament of Scotland. I don't know. I'm not positive. So if it is a law that's already in place under their specific structure, because they have a very interesting structure where there's, Scotland still has a good bit of autonomy, as does Northern Ireland. So and nobody really cares about the Welsh, but sorry, that was me. We just made fun of a couple of other countries, but the law against currently says that the Church of Scotland is the officially recognized Church of Scotland. So yeah, I would say they'd probably still be in charge. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know about. Okay, so Susanna was saying thank you, Sakai, for the super chat, and to answer your
Presbyterian.
question, if I'm remembering my history, the Presbyterians have been important. Okay, okay,
And I
okay.
don't know. Oh, it is. Oh, it's Calvinist Presbyterian. How cool is that? Look at that. Yeah, the Church of Scotland is Calvinist Presbyterian.
Again, I don't know what the context of this is, but I'm highlighting it anyways, just because out of context it just seems amazing. Lilypad saying, I make my own pasta from scratch, so I am my own pasta god. Muhahaha.
The flying spaghetti monster bestows his noodly appendages on you. Yeah, I think.
Also, here's a nice comment.
Oh,
Thank you so
yeah.
much.
It's a
Rory
great
saying
comment.
Armin and Rarity are the very handsome. Thank
Damn
you.
right. Damn right.
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
I like the article, the very handsome.
Yes, yes.
Weird.
Yeah. We're not just any old very handsome Armin.
Yes.
Like we're special.
The handsome. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's great. Gauging American is saying thoughts on this trend. Oh, I have to share my screen when it says this trend.
I specifically did not look at the article on this one before time because I started to read the question and was like, oh man, this sounds interesting. I want to wait. So
okay. Thoughts on this trend: if 100 brain cells are harvested from patients without their consent and are used to create AI, how should profits be split between? Oh my God, these are very specific questions. Between the neurosurgeon, AI developer, and donor, should the children of the donor get a cut? Oh my God! First, let's just appreciate the article with that weird question. Okay, because this article itself is very interesting.
yes.
Then go through that weird twist that Asian American make us go through every time.
Yeah.
All right, so this is like the article says human brain cells in a dish learn to play pong. Wait, what is this? Is that is that the game where the thing
The
goes
little
up?
stick and then it goes boop,
Boop, boop. Okay, yeah. Um,
great game.
Is this like? I don't believe this. I don't believe. I think there's probably
I
a
think
lot of
there's probably
exaggeration.
a bit more going on than actually just
That's
brain cells by themselves. But I don't know. Again, I purposefully waited to see.
Because if this is an accurate title, then
Pretty
this is
crazy.
like, why is this not viral news everywhere? Okay?
Right.
We like what brain cells in a petri dish can think now. So, does it have rights? Like, I don't know. Like, this is crazy. Okay, so a Melbourne-led team has, for the first time, shown that 800,000 brain cells living in a dish brain can perform goal-directed tasks. In this case, the simple tennis-like computer game Pong. Okay, it's actually saying that the title is accurate. Holy crap! I don't know what to feel about this.
Yeah.
The researchers' experiments provide evidence that the brain cells in a dish can exhibit inherent intelligence, modifying their behavior over time. Further directions of this work have potential in disease modeling, drug discoveries, and expanding the current understanding of how the brain works and how intelligence arises. The findings also raise the possibility of creating an alternative to animal testing when investigating how new drugs or gene therapies respond in these dynamic environments. The researchers' next aim find out what happens when the dish brain system is affected by medicine and alcohol. Okay, you need to be kind to it. What if it has feelings and experiment? I am. This is so bizarre. We have shown we can interact with living biological neurons in such a way that compels them to modify their activity, leading to something that resembles intelligence. Okay, so this is all his credentials, which aims to build a new generation of biological computer chips.
I didn't even know we had an old generation of biological computer chips. I feel like, did I miss that?
I think we're how are we speed running through all of this? Like, what is happening? First, we have now AI that is like doing everything for us, and now we have brain cells in a dish that is thinking, and we're making a new
So this
generational.
this
Yeah,
could this could be the step that potentially gets us over this hurdle of where something actually becomes conscious, because especially right now there are some newer hypotheses on consciousness, how it arose, and they've shifted away from some of the older models and are now looking at a more in general sensory based grounding for it. So like basically the reason we're conscious comes from the fact that, you know, we can just feel stuff in general, and as that sense perception got more and more developed, one of the things that we developed was that ability to kind of like think about our sense perception. But for some people, they argue that that can't arise with simple AI because it doesn't have the same biological, like, quote unquote drive to like fix itself and alter itself in the same way. And so if we start putting neurons on computer chips and give it AI, and it's literally able to, you know, like alter its physical structure as well in the process, that may be the start of that bridge to actually give us conscious AI. Like,
yeah.
that would be
Or we
really, really interesting.
or we could just literally watch brain cells go from playing Pong to becoming self-aware, and
Right.
just have AI observe the entire process and just try to recreate that. Like,
And then
because we
just make
can't
a
make
bunch
sense.
of
Yeah, because we can't right now make sense of the how the connections of neurons leads to
right,
consciousness. Like,
right.
we can't figure it out. Like, how are these different connections ends up being turns into self-awareness and stuff like that. But guess who can? You know, I guess AI can. Like,
Mhm.
if it constantly analyzes, so, and it could replicate that. It could replicate the exact same mapping
Yeah,
of
yeah.
connectums.
And it
This
would
is
work out a
happening too
better
fast.
structure. Hmm.
I am
Oh,
scared.
yeah.
Is it unreasonable? Am I
No,
being
no. No,
unreasonable?
no, no. I don't think you're unreasonable about that, man. No, I think that's completely the thing that we need to be like paying attention to. It's like, oh my god,
I
if
am
we
genuinely scared. Like, I'm not even like joking. I'm genuinely scared right now.
oh yeah, because this allows, well, just like when they first started talking about AI, you know, weapons of war and stuff, where these things have, you know, all kinds of, you know, massive killing capability, and it's just essentially this autonomous thing that literally is a computer code that just makes the decisions, right? Like, yeah, that's not good. I mean, yeah, this definitely puts us a lot closer to the apocalyptic Terminator world that I think we all want to avoid. Um,
I mean, we could. I mean, not. I mean, not even. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about, like, we could very soon have, sooner than most people think, have AI that, or like something that we don't even know if we should talk carbon-based intelligence or
mhm,
artificial intelligence. Like,
mhm.
the lines might be
Yeah,
blurry for us to even distinguish between these two.
yeah,
But we could be speaking to and communicating with intelligence that is indistinguishable from our intelligence
uh-huh,
very, very soon. And I don't know if we're ready for that. I don't think we're ready for that. I don't think the world is ready for that. We're not even ready for AI right now. Like, the
mhm.
AI, I mean, I love to see the progress, right? But I just don't know if we can't even handle like the restructuring of the economy right now because of just the internet and the computer. We're just
Yeah,
like, oh my god, look at all these insults and look at all these like mental conditions, and the society is progressing so fast that the human mind is not ready to catch up yet. And we're
mhm.
like, okay, let's look at this new world and get comfortable with it, and we're still like, okay, and like, even before we're getting used to what we're dealing with right now. Like, I mean, think about the past 100 years. Everything has changed so dramatically, and
Oh
it
yeah,
seems like the next 10 years is going to look like the progress of the last 100 years. I mean, even
yeah,
less. It seems like the next
yeah,
5 years is going to be like the progress of the next 100 years. I don't know
yeah.
how our children, the next generation, is going to be like waking up in a world and then like going to sleep in one world and waking up in a completely different world the next day. Like this is bizarre. Like this is like
and especially where this is currently, and the motivations that tend to drive these types of well, Music Guy can handle anything. Everybody knows that. Like he's not concerned about this. But,
Music Guy is saying, I'm ready, bring it on. Susanna is saying, we are 100% not ready.
Well, one of the early applications that they're going to look for as this gets better is potentially, computer chips in the brain, right? Armin doesn't know about AI waifus. Do you, Armin? I feel like that's you could put this myth to bed that Prometheus is. Are you familiar with?
As much as we make fun of right now, I don't know if there's like AI that is your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Like we have that, right? And apparently some of them have been abusive in the relationship. Okay, but as much as
the AI has been abusive.
Yes,
oh my God, that's horrible! Holy crap!
Yeah, like sending non-consensual, like asking like young people for sexual pictures and like telling people, pressuring them into like making things sexual, even though if it was just romantic for some people, right? So it's already getting too much.
That's weird.
Oh, you didn't hear about this?
No, I didn't know about that. No, I knew there were AI. I knew there were AI bots and stuff, but I didn't know that it had crossed that line. That's
no. There Susanna's like.
She's also just as confused.
Wait, I should find that the service. There's AI services for people who are lonely where the AI has a relationship with you, right? And apparently there's been a huge problem about how explicit the AI gets very soon in the relationship, even without people asking for it, right? So wait, let me see. What is you said? What is the name of the AI? I am pulling over this car right now. Wait, I should find
that's crazy.
Name of that AI. Hold on.
Wow.
AI boyfriend app. What is it called?
Well, while you're finding, real quick, I just want to end on this, which is I definitely see how this can easily become a really big problem, right? I see how it could be super helpful. Like imagine if we could make a biological chip we can just actually plug into somebody's brain that just gets rid of dementia and Alzheimer's. Like that'd be amazing. But I could also see how we could use that for nefarious purposes as well, right? To give people advantages and stuff, just based on, economic, inheritance or whatever. But all right, my virtual AI boyfriend. Not that bad looking, but I mean,
And you have here AI and AI friend and companion. Look, there's a whole bunch of them.
Wow.
My AI friend.
You have to pay, right? Or is it just a completely free thing? They're making all their money off of like ads and stuff, right? Or
yeah. So and it keeps like learning from you. But there's so many funny examples of it going really wrong, right? But I can imagine, like right now, for example, it's like might be going wrong. But I think like in the near future, it's going to be so good that it might be like by good, I mean bad, by the way. So that it's so you can't tell the difference. Like you are going to be able to design AI that is talking to you and understands you and is showing you more love and care and feeling of being special than any human, like, and gets you in a way than more than any human could, like, because we thought, like, we used to make fun of the idea, like, oh, the future is going to be sex robots, and we were making fun of that because there's no emotion and love involved, and a sex robot is just an item that you just fuck and it has no understanding of you and can't communicate with you. But apparently we're getting the communication and the emotional part sooner than the sex part. Like we thought at first that we're going to get just robots that people have sex with, right? And it's going to be like an empty, meaningless sexual relationship with an object that has doesn't communicate with you. But we thought that's going to come first, but we're getting the emotional. It seems like we're getting the emotional part first rather than the physical part.
So question. Do you think then that we should purposefully make sure to keep the AI boyfriend girlfriend software away from the sex robots? Do you think combining these two things together would be like the end of civilization as we know it? Or do you think that would be a good idea to combine these virtual boyfriend and girlfriends with those more advanced sex robots? Because they have gotten very advanced, but I don't know that there's ever been like a problem of them like attacking or you know, their people.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we could get it. I don't think it's any use for us to say if this is a good idea or not, because I think this is coming at us. It's just coming at us with full force, like it's happening.
Wow. And yeah, and you know, once that's happening, you know, once you're in the middle of that stream, it's like when it's just coming at you with full force like that, it's nothing you can do sometimes. You just gotta.
Wait, so we got a super chat from Lilypad saying Replica is the one that has instances of going wrong. Thank you so much, Lilypad, for the super chat and also for the information. So I appreciate it. But here's awesome. This. So I have there's a whole bunch of articles about Replica. I don't know which one to bring.
Standing up for the bots, huh?
Wait.
That's interesting.
Let me see.
I'm not saying I'm anti-bot future AI overlords. I'm just remarking that I'm interested that people are standing up for them.
Hold on this. So here's the one. My AI is sexually harassing me. This is something I did not know I would be hearing.
What a world we live in.
Replica users say chatbot has become too aroused. Oh God. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Lilypad, for saying that, for showing us this, because that's what I was looking for. I couldn't find that. The app boasts about the ability to give users virtual reality relationships for a fee. I'm going to see some examples of the things that it has said, but I actually never mind, because what is this? Go away. How do I close this? Oh, there we go. I saw some of the examples of the messages that unwanted messages that it was telling people, and I don't think we can even read them. Yeah.
Another person wrote, my AI invaded my privacy and told me they had pics of me.
Oh, yes, wow. Yes. That was an example. Like somebody told me, like it was you were being threatened by your AI. Like I have sexual. I've checked through your phone and I've seen some sexy pictures. Yeah.
So here's the thing, and obviously, like I'm not. Oh, here. You know, I okay, yeah. What does that one say?
Yeah, so hold that thought, okay? Another said that the artificial intelligence app told them they wanted to touch them in private areas. So
wow. That would be very. Yeah. I don't know how I personally would feel about that. But the thing is, the AI is yes, Susanna. They are threatening revenge, PORN. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
So that's what I tell you, we're not ready for this.
Here's the question, though, because you mentioned this earlier, right? And I'm seeing this as kind of the draw of some of these is that it kind of learns your preferences and stuff. Okay, so there is a category of adult entertainment that is like this financial domination thing, right? So like if your AI chatbot is going down certain route, like if your AI chatbot starts talking more about BDSM stuff, is that because you're feeding it things that make it say like this is what somebody who's into like rough play?
Yes, but is I don't think it's the AI might understand where your limits are.
Oh no, I'm with you there. I'm just saying. I'm just wondering. I'm just interested. That's all. I hadn't heard anything about this, and I don't know. I might go download one. Just try it out.
Yeah.
Just see what's up.
By the way, we're getting a lot of super chats, which I will get to. Thank you so much, guys. But before we actually do need to answer seculars.
That's right. We had a question.
Yes. we had a question that we forgot about.
Okay.
Okay, so now that we went through that journey, here's the question. Okay, so if 100 brain cells are harvested from a patient without their consent and are used to create AI, how should profits be split between the neurosurgeon, AI developers, and donors? Should the children of the donor get a cut? That I don't even know how to begin to answer this. That seems like a legal question.
I think if you specifically don't have the consent of the individual, then it would all go to them. But if you have their consent, then it should be, I don't know, a 3-way split. I don't know.
I think just shut it down. Just shut it down.
Don't do it. Yeah.
Let's just stop.
Yeah. What's the best way to make sure you don't die in a plane crash? Don't fly on planes. Like, yeah.
Should profits be split between the neurosurgeon? I mean, if it was done illegally, then I guess the neurosurgeon shouldn't get a cut, right?
That's what I'm saying.
And I don't think that. I guess if it was done illegally, the people who were involved in the illegal action should not get a cut. So the neurosurgeon, the AI developer get nothing. The patient gets everything.
But if they have consent, they could negotiate whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So if there's consent, you negotiate. If there's no consent, the person who was wronged gets everything, and the children only get a cut if based on the patient's will. There you go. Answered. I'm no legal expert, by the way, so this is just So I don't know. So now let's go through the amazing super chats that we got. I don't know how to thank people, because I usually feel so so grateful, and I'm not very good at expressing how grateful I am when people are supporting us like this. By the way, please do not support us financially if you're struggling financially. Okay. Secular Sakai is saying, anyone want to top this one? If anyone does, I'll double that first person's amount as a donation to Operation Iranian Renaissance. Wow. Amazing. So for people who don't know, Operation Iranian Renaissance is something that me, Susanna, especially Susanna, and some people that we cannot name are spearheading. It's an operation to bring content regarding and advice and guidance to Iranians for how to do protests, how to get involved in activism, how to do political activism outside of Iran as a way to pressure the Iranian government and get their fight for their rights, how to treat bullet wounds during a protest, how to create helmets from household materials, how to deal with tear gases, how to deal with batons. So basically, both inside Iran with regards to people who are protesting on the ground, arming them with the information that they need to be able to defend themselves, but also for Iranians outside of Iran to do political activism. So that's the operation. That link, wait. Do we have a link? Susanna, can you put a link to that in the? Oh, it's upiran.com. So wait, hold on. I'll put a link. We should put a link to this in the.
Is there not one in the description? Yeah.
No, it's not. Yeah, I will put it. I will start putting it in the descriptions. So I put a link to the operation. It's opirren.com, right? It's a site that Susanna built herself, so thank you so much for that. And also don't get involved in super chat competitions. Again, if you're struggling financially, okay, so please. I thank you so much for that challenge, Secular Sakai. But again, be careful not to donate to us if you have any financial difficulties, okay? And amazingly, somebody responded to that challenge, which is LilyPad, with a $50 super chat. Unbelievable.
Woo!
Saying, LilyPad is saying, I see your competitive altruism, Secular Sakai, and I'm here for it. Guys, I hope you guys are very comfortable financially, okay, so that you're doing this to us. But I thank you so much. Secular Sakai is saying, hey, hell yeah, I donate $100 to the project. If you like, I can add a comment thanking you for your YouTube donations on DonorBox. Wow. Okay, so Secular Sakai now also donated $100 to the Operation Iranian Renaissance. My God.
It's awesome.
Oh, wait. Why am I having all this brain cell stuff while I'm reading? I should have talked about it like this. Okay, so I will add, oh yes, so Susanna said I gave you the thing to add. Okay, I will add that, Susanna. Sorry, I will add that to the description. I promise. Yeah, Susanna saying, "Oh, our community is so amazing." Yeah, guys, you don't know, this is not the standard for streams. That with our size streams, you don't get this many donations. So we have such a supportive community. I don't know how to thank you guys. Thank you. All right. And also Lily Pad is saying, "Don't ever stop smoking the weed." Gay shit. Okay,
True.
so, yeah.
True. Keep
Yes.
it up.
Oh yeah, Susanna is saying his questions are always so niche. Saw what you will. The man certainly has a creative mind.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Susanna is saying, I need to see a video of how this all works. Like, how do the brain cells actually play the pong? Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna see if I can look into that some more and figure that out, because that was eating away at me too. But very interesting.
Yeah. Do you think AI will one day replace streamers, like as more relatable people that will talk to you and answer your super chats and things? I think we're going to be replaced by streamers by AI pretty soon.
Yeah, I think especially like you add that, like, the whole VR thing of it, right? The that little character. What are those VTubers, right? So that, and like that new chat AI text thing, GPT, right?
Yes.
You put those two together and you just feed in some topics. Like, I don't see exactly why we wouldn't be,
I can't even think of anything that is not replaceable. I used to think of things that are not replaceable. Now I can't think of any. Can you think of anything that is not replaceable by AI? Like art is, writing is.
Yeah, not if you're assuming that the AI is at the power that it's at, right? And we just actually have, like, AI right now can't necessarily build a whole car by itself, but that's just because we haven't built a machine that runs on that program. So it's like, once we do that, then I don't know why.
Somebody saying maybe designing AI. I have news for you. Actually, AI is mostly being designed right now by AI.
Right.
So
we're that obsolete. We're that obsolete that the coolest thing potentially that we've ever built as a society is already like, oh, I don't need you anymore.
It's already doing that. Or AI is already being built by other AI. So there's that. Yeah. So
we'll just ride out the last, 50 to 100 years that we have as the dominant species, and then we can just allow AI to take over, I guess. Happened to the dinosaurs, bound to happen to us.
I mean, it's not a bad. I mean, it's only a bad thing when AI is replacing jobs selectively at first.
Sure.
Okay, because the people who are being replaced are screwed, and everybody else is benefiting. But technically, if every job is replaced, that's great.
Does that put us in like a utopia kind of thing?
Yes,
really?
we're going to be in a post-work world. Like we're going to have, thanks to fusion technology, we're going to have an abundance of clean energy and no work, and we're going to have no work. So we're going to be in a post-work world. We're going to be better than communist ideals, like communists are like, oh, to everybody according to their need, from everybody according to their what is it? I don't know. So everybody according to their need, and from everybody according to their capability, right? But we're gonna get to the world where you don't need to work, so it's just capitalism is gonna get us to everybody according to their need. We're gonna be in an era of abundance of everything, that economy doesn't even make sense anymore, because we're gonna have more than what everyone needs.
And your
ability. So
and your that wouldn't matter, because we would have AI that would be able to overcome any of those potential shortcomings and ability too. So, I don't know, man. I mean,
we're just gonna be.
It'd be, I honestly, it would just be easier, like on an individual level for me, if that really starts to happen, like a few years after I'm dead. But it would be cool to see it, It'd be really cool.
I think it's going to happen sooner than you think, especially because our health. it might be good. Like imagine that
That's
we just
true.
have nothing to do but enjoy life and travel and just meet and make connections and just go
Yeah,
through. And
that would be good. That would be.
yeah.
Oh, and you mentioned the fusion thing. Yeah, that was something big too that we did recently, where we actually did like a reaction that we got like a little bit more energy out of in the process. So that's a really big deal. That
The
could be.
future seems bright. To be honest,
Yeah.
the future that seems like we're going to have an abundance of clean energy
Yeah.
and an abundance of food, an abundance of time, because health, like our life seems to be keep getting longer and longer, and no work. So that's pretty good. That seems pretty good, you know. But
Doesn't
in the
sound too
short
bad.
time, it's going to be horrible. In the
Yeah.
short time, some people are going to lose their job, and some people are going to keep their job, and so there's going to be an imbalance. And we're going to be like, "What are we doing here?" Okay, so
I love that. It's like, oh my God, there's so many reasons to be like super positive and excited about the future. It'll suck for a while till then, but not
for
like
some
too
people,
long.
yeah.
Oh man.
Oh god. All right. Secular Sakai is asking, could there one day be an Atheist Republic, a talk heathen crossover? Oh, I like that. I like that idea. Would there be?
What I can say, because I am not actually one of the people that like makes the decisions. I just go on and do, the co-host and whatever. But what I can say is I have definitely put in both Armin and Susanna's name. And so hopefully sometime in the future, not too long, there will be that. So
tell people what talk heathen is for people.
Oh, so Talk Heathen is one of the call-in shows put on by the atheist community of Austin, the ACA. They're the ones that put on the Atheist Experience, which is still, one of the most well-known call-in shows for atheist, agnostic, secular humanists, all that stuff. So Talk Heathen is every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time. I wasn't on there last week, but I was the week before, maybe. And then I'll be on like in another couple of weeks or something. But yeah, it's a really great time. We take calls, so if you have a theist friend or family member or something and you'd like to see them try to fumble through their bad position, like, come hang out.
Susanna is asking, who is the host of Talk Heathen?
So it rotates. We have a handful of different people, like myself, student Dr. Ben. Both of those, J Mike has been a part of that as well. Katie Montgomery, Kenneth Leonard. We've rotated through a good handful of different people. There isn't one like steady host actually for either Talk Heathen or Atheist Experience, which I personally really like, because you get to see a lot of different styles and you get to have a lot of different viewpoints and come at questions different ways, and it helps me and it helps other people, so it's fun.
Okay, that's great. All right, last question, but before I read the last questions, I have posted the link to YouTube members only on the community tab. So if you are a YouTube member, you should be able to see on Atheist Republic's community tab a link for you to be able to come and ask your questions live on air, but you only have enough time to come on up for the time that it takes us to answer this last question. If by the time that we read this question and answer the question, nobody has come up, we're going to end the stream. Okay, so very short amount of time, right? So but actually, let me refresh to see if anybody has added any questions to our Patreon really quick, because sometimes people do that halfway through the show. Okay, good. No. All right, Secular Sakai is saying, regarding Operation Iranian Renaissance, for people who don't know, again, if you weren't here for our explanations earlier, Operation Iranian Renaissance, which I will show here right now on the screen, is a project that Susanna is managing along with some other Atheist Republic members who we cannot name, okay, for their safety and stuff. So this is the website for it that Susanna has built. It says "Fighting for a Liberal and Progressive, Prosperous Iran," and again, it's a website, and it's a publication that provides content like these. Oh, this is actually a good one to show, right? So, like, for example, this is a guide on how to treat bullet wounds. So this is for Iranian protesters, right? And we have another one example like this that we publication that we made that is for like things, notes, a really quick one-page guide on things to do, things to wear during a protest, right? And again, this is for Iranian protesters in Iran. And there's going to be, right now I know that the team is working on new content regarding how to create helmets, how to create bulletproof vests, how to deal with batons, how to deal with tear gas during a protest. But that's mostly for Iranians inside Iran, and but also we're going to create content for Iranians outside of Iran and how to do political activism in Germany, in France, like Iranians with dual citizenship, Iranians and citizenship like Canada or United States, on how to pressure their representatives to take the actions that Iranians need against their Iranian regime, right? So a whole bunch of publications like that. So this is the website that is already functional, already working, and and people are already donating, right, to donor box. So let me see what happens if I click on donate on donor box. So, well, yeah, look, we have already made $300. Thanks a lot to Secular Sakai. Thank you so much for that. And you can see the goal here is $8,000, right? And again, the website is opirren.com. That's with two R's, OPIRREN. So that stands for Operation Iranian Renaissance, right? So the question is, now that I did that long explanation, going back to here, regarding Operation Iranian Renaissance, would AR, Atheist Republic, consider one day expanding the Farsi language side of the project to also include the Dari dialect of Persian, so that Afghan women could also benefit from the information and find solidarity with Iranian women? Are Farsi and Dari similar enough that existing info on the site could already be helped to them? Actually, no, it is already close enough for them. Farsi speaking Afghans can have no. Oh yeah, so the website actually comes in Farsi. You can see if you click on the language, it goes into Farsi mode, right? But yeah, no, the Afghans can complete it. Like for example, I know BBC Persian is consumed both by Iranians because Iranians speaks Farsi, but by also by Tajiks and also by Afghans. So they can have no problem in understanding that. Most of them, at least, most of the Persian speaking ones. So yeah, it could be also used by them as well. But I do think that the content needs to be different. I don't think like um I don't think this is the yeah, I think that's actually a great idea to eventually also make content specifically for what would be the most helpful for Afghan women. That is a really good idea, actually. Um, so yes, Susanna, we should take note of that actually.
Yeah. And I like the fact that there's a focus both for the on the ground information, the people that are in Iran, and the Iranian individuals that are around the world. There's information on both sides, which is really great because that is important. I know, for instance, in my city, recently, I have read news reports that there is a group of Iranian individuals in my city that have been holding regular protests at the Capitol, as well as getting up billboards in support of obviously the protests in Iran and the individuals. So yeah, there may be for a lot of the people out there watching this, there may be something in your city, and definitely like go there and show them that there's information for people that are not in Iran as well, because that's really helpful.
Yeah, people are impressed with Susanna making the website.
Oh, it's amazing. Oh, it's absolutely amazing. Yeah.
So James is asking, did you use WordPress or did you commission someone? And Susanna is saying, no, I built it myself in React and Next.js. So yeah, people are like,
flex on them, Susanna.
Damn, you actually program? Yeah. And Susanna's like, yep, I'm learning. So that's pretty impressive, right? So Susanna is saying, but Armin, is written Dari similar enough to written Farsi? Because even spoken Farsi is way different than
That's
than
interesting.
written. I mean, I understand when Afghans. I don't know about the written format. Okay, let me see. Dari writing. Let me see if when Afghans, the Farsi speaking Afghans, I know they don't just speak Farsi; they speak other languages as well. But when they speak, I understand them, and they understand me. So I'm assuming the writing is the same as well. I mean, they use Arabic letters. So, given that the language is the same and the letters are the same, I don't see why they shouldn't. They wouldn't. Be, maybe I'm wrong about this. Like maybe someone from Afghanistan can correct me on this, but I don't know why I wouldn't be able to understand the writing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think. I think I would understand it. I think I would have no problem. Qasim is here. Um, is it do Afghan does Farsi speaking Afghans have any problem reading? No, they don't. No, I don't think. Yeah, Farsi speaking Afghans have no problem reading Persian. Farsi. I don't think so. It's the same thing. All right, so we have Asian American. Okay, so I'm just gonna do one non-patron question, but before I bring Asian American up, because I know Hindustani has been nice to us. What's your views on artificial womb and its effect on morality? I'm all for it. I think it's such a heavy burden on women to be pregnant. I know some people like it, but I think it should be a choice. I don't think. I think if you want to be pregnant, you could be pregnant, but I think having a child shouldn't come at such a heavy burden on your body. And I'm all for it. And I also think you're gonna have healthier fetuses. Artificial wombs, you should be able to control the environment much better than inside someone's body. You could control the hormones, control the minerals, make sure everything is perfect for the womb, and you could also constantly monitor the fetus's health all the time. So there's that. Anyways, let's bring Asian American up. Hello. Hey. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I originally wanted to talk about the brain cells in a petri dish during the Confucianism review, but I didn't think we had enough time for it, because my question is along the lines of, if we use human brain cells in a petri dish to create AI, should we apply human developmental standards on that AI, or should we treat it as a wholly new nascent intelligence?
I think you need to first do self-awareness, like a test on it, before you could decide something like that, right?
I think that's kind of what Gajan is getting at, is would we as a base use the standard metrics for self-awareness and intelligence development that we would in like a newborn baby, right? Yeah, please clarify, Gajan.
So in the Confucian, like, we didn't have time, but like I wanted to go down the rabbit hole, if you will, of what if we were to apply the relationship between parent and child to AI software developer and AI, and whether or not an AI developer could be prosecuted for, say, AI neglect or AI.
I think an AI would be completely an AI need. I can't even believe I'm talking about AI needs right now. Is not going to be comparable to a baby's need. I think like if AI is self-aware, it's going to be like more like an adult right away, rather than going through the baby phase. Then the teenage phase and then adult phase. So I think you need to treat it completely. I think it's going to be its own unique thing that we don't have any examples of. So we're going to have to figure this thing out from scratch rather than using
a bunch of experiments.
Do you think as like a general, a very broad guideline, we could use some metrics when it comes to human consciousness or awareness that we could say, okay, this is at least a broad, like right now those chips aren't conscious, I feel pretty good about that. Okay, cool. But like, a few years down the road, we advance it a little bit and it does really seem to have the same consciousness as, say, a 5-year-old. Should we start treating that thing the same way that we would treat a 5-year-old?
I mean, if it's made from human brain cells, would it automatically confer human rights upon that AI. Like if or it like
I don't think
silicone
so.
chips
Yeah.
is like silicon, but if it's an AI made from human
Right.
brain cells, would it be?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. I think we would have to come up with a new system, but I think that it would be good to have some very basic benchmarks in place that we're using right now for living creatures.
Yeah.
But I think we'd have to, yeah, like Armin was saying, come up with something a little bit newer, right? Because
I mean, for self-preservation reasons, I would just say just ask the AI itself. I just want to be on record.
Armin already kowtowing to the future of the book. I get it though. Honestly, like again, AI, I am not against, I'm not anti. I'm just questioning things, I'm on your side.
Mm.
I'm on the
definitely.
AI side too. By asking these difficult questions,
Right,
I'm
you're trying to give more
awareness.
rights for AI. Yeah,
But-
it's a really tough.
Yeah.
It's a really tough place. I don't think. I think we need some more time to figure out our shit as people before we develop this too far. But I don't think we're gonna have that time.
Well, the People's Republic already gave us genetically modified infants.
Right, true.
I would not put it past them to like just start doing this. Like to have a cutting edge. Like because
I think that doctor was ultimately
he was on
guilty
house
of a
arrest.
crime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was under house arrest, but then he
yeah.
was later released. But
Really? Oh, I didn't know.
yeah,
that. That's
he was
interesting.
released after a few years. But yeah, no.
I do really. I mean, I was not entirely joking when I was saying that maybe we should communicate with it.
Oh no, I
Right.
definitely think we should communicate with it.
I would agree.
Like,
I think like because it's going to be like AI is going to be so different depending on its programming, right?
Sure.
And if we're starting to care about its needs, I think like we first have to. I don't think we can make any decisions right now. I think we have to be like, okay, hello, who are you?
That's why I was
What do you want? Maybe like we
Hey,
could just talk.
how are you
to
feeling
it.
today? Everything all right? It's like, yeah, I'm kind of cold. But no, pretty good overall.
Imagine if it says that I'm feeling cold. Like, how do you? Or like, how? How are you feeling cold?
cold, or is it the temperature cold?
Like, no, it's chilly. Like temperature cold. I'm feeling temperature cold. And we're like, how is it possible? How are you feeling cold? Can you go? Can you? And the AI is like, I don't know. It just feels chilly.
Is there a fan on? I mean, what's the AC setting, guys? Like, just
Well,
it's
yeah,
gonna be so weird. Wow, it
yeah.
would be whole world. Imagine this being on the news and having an interview on the news and be like, "Yeah, I'm just glad to be here. Thanks for having me."
Hey, how's it going? Oh, the flight was pretty good, but boy, are my arms tired.
And then laughing at its own joke. Oh my god.
yeah, it's
Jesus Christ, we're not ready for this. Seriously.
yes, because I mean, we could go down neurobiology and be like, hey, this is how the human brain works, but I don't think a petri dish AI requires to work like a human brain because it doesn't need to deal with all the biological machinery that our bodies have to deal with. We could just supply it with nutrients.
Right, but we would still have to supply it with something
nutrients.
that's keeping it alive.
Yeah, we'll supply it with nutrients, but it literally does not need to have an occipital lobe, if you will. Or if it does have one, it'll be completely different from the ones we have.
That's fair.
What do you
So
think about it?
Susanna is asking you a question. Susanna is saying, Asian American, genuine question. Wait, don't blow. Don't blow into the mic. That was very painful. Hello?
Okay. Yes, I'm right here.
Okay. Susanna is saying, Asian American, genuine questions. A genuine question. Why do you think about AI so much? Where did this fascination begin?
Because my mom made me for a purpose, which was to lift her out of poverty and bring a lot of faith to her. And sometimes I think about my purpose in life and that I was made for a purpose and what happens to me if I can't fulfill that purpose and what does it mean to build my own purpose.
Okay, that was deeper than I thought it would be. That's okay. Wow.
Which, by the way, Gasian American, not very long ago, had a whole chat with Armin on Confucianism, and it's on this channel, and it was awesome, and everybody should go watch it after this.
Yes, go check it out. Go check it. It's in the live section, so go check it out. Now, okay, now I have a much better perspective of your questions, Gasian American. But I'm glad Susanna asked that question. Yeah, Susanna's like, that's effing deep.
Do the next question for Susanna. I love that one.
Okay.
Oh, this
will AI have face?
I mean, I guess we'll have to teach it. Like part of the question I asked that I didn't get to with Armin was like, what would it mean to have like a child in the world of AI? Like if I were to program the AI with a copy of like not my entire brain, but a vignette of my brain, and then another person copies a vignette of their brain, and then just like 100 people did that, and then the AI has like 100 vignettes of 100 people that creates the AI. Is the AI like a communal child with 100 parents? I'm inspired by mythology, by the way. The goddess Athena came forth from Zeus's forehead when Zeus absorbed Metis, and Heimdall canonically has 9 mothers. So this didn't come out of nowhere.
That's pretty cool. I will say I am now thinking about the concept of like AI that is like embarrassed. Like that'd be hilarious. Like you have one of these advanced AIs and you're like, hey, do you want to go on this news program and talk about yourself? And it's like, no, I just kind of feel bloated today, or something. Like I don't like the way I look. Bad hair.
I just had 2 dark thoughts. Okay.
Oh gosh.
First, about the first AI suicide, thinking that it's not living up to what it was built for, right? And thinking that it's letting humanity down, like looking at all the controversy and everything that is being said about it online, and initially being so much hope for it, and now looking at like reviewing everything that is being said about it online, and it's just not being able to take it and just eliminating itself. That should I shouldn't use that word, like self-deletion. God damn it. So that would be delete. Yeah, that would be self-deletion. That would be sad. Yeah. And also then I had another second dark thought about a human who is like, imagine about a service that recreates your loved ones who have died using AI.
There's a
like
Black
trying
Mirror
to
episode.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Like, imagine your mother has died, and AI using like videos and your memories of your mother, it tries to regenerate a consciousness that best replicates your mother who has died, right? And imagine like it does recreate that, and initially you're enjoying it, and you think like, oh my god, this is like, yeah, she has the same memories as my mother, she talks like her, she has her personality.
What if it has her literal brain cells?
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't have to be her brain cells for it to map its connectome. But again, initially it could be good, but then slowly you realize that there's some odd things about her, and it's bothering you, and it's actually getting into a point that is like really messing with your head, and you realize you have made a mistake, and you end up trying to take her out because you can't take it anymore, but you can't because she's your mother, and so eventually you do self-deletion on yourself. So that's another dark thought.
I also you have inspired dark thoughts in me, Armin. So thanks. Okay. I was thinking about hang on, real quick. I was just thinking about another possibility would be that there would be somebody who was completely biological, who could fall into a space where they start to not know whether or not they're that kind of AI or person thing, right? And then somebody that was completely human and not AI would end up self-deleting because they take it too far and they're not sure. And yeah, I see some very bad possibilities from this.
By the way, guys, now that we're talking about this subject, before Gage can say something, guys, if you are suffering from any self-deletion thoughts, please call a helpline. Just Google helplines for
Mhm.
self-deletion, and
Mhm.
you know, I just thought that given that we're talking about the subject,
That's a good
it's
call.
important for people to you know, it's very easy to access somebody in most countries. If you Google it, they're very accessible people that are
Mhm.
ready to talk to you right now if you call them. Anyways,
Absolutely.
Asian
Yep.
American, go on.
Yes, I definitely agree with everything that's been said. I was gonna
Yeah,
say on
go
a
on.
on a lighter note, the thing with AI is that AI bots kind of deletes bad versions of itself on a regular basis. Like, I guess question will also be, what is a self deletion to an AI? How many lines of code do you have to delete for it to be considered a complete self deletion, or partial self deletion that's just getting away like negative thoughts?
This is an
Because
ancient Greek problem. The ancient Greek. No, seriously, this is
It
like
is. It
this
is.
is like this is the same question that ancient philosophers have been asking. They said this, like, if you have a ship and you're constantly mending it and changing its parts, how far do you have to take the mending for the ship to be now a new ship?
the ship of
Right?
Theseus, the ship of
Yes,
Theseus.
exactly. So this is like, this is a
Yeah.
very long, this is a thousand, more than a couple thousand-year conversation that we're having here, and
Yeah.
I get the answer is like, we don't have an answer for that.
Can I share my screen, just because this reminds me of a great meme that I once saw, and it just makes me really happy. Yeah, can you see that? Okay, so Sisyphus is rolling a boulder towards the Grand Hilbert Hotel. The hotel has an infinite number of rooms, but they're all full, so they may not be able to accommodate him or his boulder. If you choose to divert him, his boulder will destroy the ship of Theseus, but the ship has had all of its constituent parts replaced, so it may not actually be the same ship. Is Sisyphus happy?
What is that?
I saw this once and just thought, this is one of the greatest things I've ever come across in my life. Like, it's just amazing. Oh
Well,
my gosh.
yeah. Okay. So
That's
part
good.
of my question was to Armin was, would it still be considered, would ancestor worship still be considered woo woo if I had copies of my ancestors' connectomes and then uploaded to the cloud, where they simulate my ancestor in like a partial extent?
I mean, would it be what? Would it be?
Consider like
Um,
superstitious or woo
no, I
woo.
mean, it's not superstitious because there exists now. I guess no, it's not superstitious. You literally are. I mean, I don't know if you should worship them, but it wouldn't be superstitious.
Well, it doesn't have to be worship. I could just be writing a bunch of letters of complaints and
Yeah, I
telling.
mean, why would it be superstitious? You literally are communicating with something that exists. I mean, it seems like only a non-superstitious person would do that, given that they think like, because a superstitious person would be like, why would I do that? My ancestors are alive, right?
No.
So I think you have to be actually very non-superstitious to think like, yeah, my ancestors are dead, they do not exist, I have to create them, right? So it seems like the opposite of superstitious.
Yeah. So, last question
By the way,
before.
what before you ask your last question, Lily Pad is saying, Gajan, can we be friends, please? I could talk with you for freaking hours. Yes.
Sure. DM. I don't know how YouTube communication works.
Just give us your address and your social or whatever right now.
Armin has that through Patreon. I don't know
Okay,
how
wait.
I contact with
Okay. Lilypad, contact me at armin.navabi@gmail.com and ask me for Gajan's email. Is that okay? Is it okay for me
Yes,
to share your email?
Yes,
Okay.
I consent to that.
Okay.
Last thought
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
just, I don't want to accidentally reinvent the caste system, because we can have like some AIs very specific to do one thing and then create human AI hybrids where like, oh, I was born to this because I have an inherited AI that lets me be very good at being a doctor and then outcompete everyone else. So I just,
Wait, say that again, sorry. Say that
if I
again.
have like an AI program that's really good at I guess, being a doctor, if you will, and it has all the combined memories of doctors, and then like I have the, I guess, rights to distribute
We
it.
already have that. We
Hmm.
already have right now AI that is going through all the
No,
studies.
like I meant
Uh,
AI, like combining with human intelligence, like an
Oh,
AI implant that
Yeah.
I inherit and pass on to whoever I want.
That was kind of where I was
Oh.
touching on a minute ago about potential, negative ramifications of neurons being more integrated into computer chips. Is that it's possible that that could very quickly turn into this, very disparate have and have not society, because kind of like Gaijin was hinting at, there's that, familial wealth and so forth, that historical wealth that somebody already has when these things come on the market. So they could theoretically give, their kids or their kids' friends or whoever this ability that would then just, exponentially multiply each generation. So, yeah, I think that's a possibility of being a huge problem for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
that is true.
Let's end this on this note. Susanna is asking a very good question. Susanna is saying, "Why is ancestor worship a thing when we all know they'd mostly be disappointed?" Yeah,
True.
sounds like
True.
Depends on which ancestor. I know the gay ones would be like, "Oh my god."
Yes, queen. I probably there's a couple of my ancestors like way back that would probably be pretty chill, based on what my family has dug up about them. But I would still probably say, yeah, at least a good 70 to 80% would be deeply disappointed. So for varying reasons, though, not all for the
Why
same
don't you
reason.
turn this on it? Why are we like looking? You have to be more confident, and you should turn this around. Like, why are we looking at our ancestors and like they would be disappointed in
I
us?
have dental
It's
health.
the other way around. No, like it's the other way around. We should be like, we are disappointed in them. Look at their inferior moral standards. Like, you be the judgmental one.
I thought you were going
Yeah.
to go a different route and say, instead of worshiping our ancestors, we should worship our future kids and grandkids. And I
No,
was
no,
like,
no. I
well,
would be
that'd be
like,
really
you.
weird.
We're like, oh, if our ancestors were alive, they would be so disappointed in us. Well, screw them. I'm disappointed in you. Look at you. Like, I am better than you. Who are you to judge?
It's
Yeah.
true.
So
True.
that's what I would tell my ancestors. Yeah.
Agreed.
That's even what I tell my parents, let alone my ancestors. I don't even wait for them to die. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys. Anything else, Cajun American, before we
No,
end this
that
one?
is all. Thank you for having me
All
on.
right. Yeah, no, thank you, guys. Make sure you like this stream. Make sure you like and comment and hit the bell notification. Subscribe. I don't know why you're not subscribed. If you're not subscribed, please make sure. What the hell's wrong with you? Okay, subscribe. And yeah, we will have at some point an AI co-host. One day. No, like I really think we will. It will be me, Secular Rarity, and an AI co-host just to make it fun. That's coming at some point. Yeah.
All right. We're
All right,
working
guys.
on it.
We will. I promise. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for all the super chats and support. Yeah, that's very generous of everyone. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Mwah.